Hello, hello, hello. Check one, two, check one, two. I see a couple people hanging out in the chat already. Thank you for being here. Dustin, Nicholas. We will let people trickle in. Do the obligatory, make sure you're hearing me okay, seeing me okay. And then we'll dive into a discussion of some updates for the MoGraph Mentor program that I'm very excited to share with all of you. So I'm going to check out some stream health. Nilsson, hello. How are you, sir? Yes. Ex-alumni indeed. Great to see you. Thanks for hanging out. So yeah, seems like the stream is working great. So yeah, thank you all so much for taking a little time out for this update. We've been working behind the scenes for, really about the last year. I took a new partner at MoGraph Mentor, a kind of technical co-founder, to help me with a lot of the complexity that I was struggling with as we were trying to do the mentorship program, and then build other niche classes around, hard surface modeling or, generally the workshops part of what we're doing. So the goal for the mentorship program over the last year is we say we want it to be more accessible. The number one complaint, and because we have people all over the world, the 2000 USD is just a really steep hill to climb for a lot of people. So we want to make it as accessible as possible. That's what, that's the position that we're working from. And so really that means making it more affordable. And so we're going to take the price of each class from this $2,000 price to $770, so south of $800, and you can do it on a payment plan and get that down to $265 over 3 payments. So we think making it, almost 60% cheaper is going to open it up to a lot more people, get it to a price where if you're in another country, the USD is meeting you a lot closer. Hello, Elizabeth. So that's the big highlight. That's the big shift. This is what we've been trying to work on over the last years. How do we figure out how to make this more affordable? So how do we do that? So the big picture tweaks to classes 1, 2, and 3 are they're going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to go from 12 weeks to 9 weeks. We're going to reduce the amount of oral critique that's given during the live Zoom sessions each week. There's still going to be a little bit of it, but we're going to move 90% of project critique into a more kind of cataloging system using Frame.io. So this is a big shift. Instead of the live session being dedicated more towards 20 minutes of critique, 20 minutes of critique, 20 minutes of critique, the live times are going to be more about direct presentations and training from the mentors, for roughly an hour, and then another hour of critique, of a little bit of critique and individualized help. But then giving the mentors, and this is some feedback from the mentors, I think they'd prefer to do more substantive critique each week by just using Frame.io, being able to draw over the top of your projects, being able to make notes directly on a timeline in the interface. So we think that's going to improve that part of it. We've had video training, but there's going to be a lot more in each of these. The other big shift is going to be a little bit of the number of pupils that each mentor has. We're tweaking that from 6-to-1 to 10-to-1. And really the whole Frame.io oral critique tweak is about allowing the mentors to have more pupils. If they can do their weekly critique in a contained environment like Frame.io, then you can expand that ratio a little bit and still have the mentor give really substantive feedback every single week of the semester. The other big tweak that is, instead of having the same mentor each week, we're going to have a team teaching model where we're going to rotate mentors. So one week you're having a live session with Steve Savali talking about After Effects keyframes. And then the next week you're with Lana talking about classical animation and spacing and timing and Adobe Animate and Photoshop. So we're really excited about this. I think it's going to allow you to be, exposed to more perspectives and workflows and techniques and styles, and just personalities, which I think makes it fun. So as I mentioned, this has been a goal for a while. We tried to do a lot of research on what is the monthly price that people can afford, and then how do we format the program to make it accessible to as many people as possible. Part of it is that as we've offered more workshops, that gives us more money to operate the core, margin of the business, to run the platform and do what we do. Whereas when the business first started out, when the school first started out, it was just primarily mentorship. So as people take more workshops, and if you've taken one of our workshops, thank you. Thank you for supporting what we're doing and supporting, the instructors and the artists, because that allows us to take the margin on the mentorship down to just the lowest possible level, to make this mentorship time just as accessible as possible. As I mentioned, the format tweaks are probably one of the most substantial ways that we can tweak this and get this price down. And then the whole new format, not just the price, but everything that the program is now, it's been an evolving thing over the last 5 to 6 years of running it. It's the 6th year now. And I just say, sorry, it took so long to figure out the complexity of how to do it better, but I really think we've really made some strides, and we've got a much better version of it for people now, which I'm excited about. So, the program begins with Introduction to Design and Animation. We believe you ought to learn animation principles, learn, 2D animation in After Effects, learn about the process and workflow of artwork, and those basics of visual storytelling, right? And communicating with an audience, and design principles and color theories, and things like that. So that's the big picture vision for Class 1. Class 2, we're calling Intermediate Art Direction and Creative Execution. This course is just really about being a better visual artist. There's going to be limited animation homework that's going to be in Class 2. It's going to primarily be design and style framing homework. The purpose of the second class, because in the first class we focus so much, especially early, on animation principles, it actually makes sense then to really spend some time and try to develop some really, really polished style frames without feeling like you have to rush to animate it. Just sometimes working in that design part of the process is an area to grow. Again, we always like to be style agnostic. We're not going to force you to do a specific style, but if it's more illustration heavy or it's more 3D heavy, you're going to have a mentor team that helps you. Visual art is visual art. A visual artist could make a sculpture and make a painting and make a design. It's about space and composition and form and texture, and those foundational principles that really transcend, 2D or 3D. So that's really the vision for Class 2. And then Class 3 is our advanced visual storytelling. This is really all about the craft of filmmaking, right? Motion designers have such a difficult job in that we have to be so multidisciplinary. There's design, there's animation, but then there's film, right? We're making, linear media, we're making, videos, we're making short films. And so that has a craft all unto itself. Alex Maypar, who has mentored with us a lot, who's in New York, really helped shape what Class 3 was, which was just this emphasis on visual storytelling. And I had some of his students say to me, Alex's classes were so hard, and he made them storyboard their story so many times through, that they almost wanted to cry by the end of the class, because it was so draining to do all that like creative development, in the early stages of film, when a lot of times people want to rush into getting into Illustrator and getting into Photoshop. Alex helped us see you really need to spend several weeks on story, on big picture visual storytelling processes to really make coherent films, to really make films and end products that really stand out as something that's extremely polished as a piece of film or as a piece of media. So that's the big vision for Class 3. I'll go ahead and show you a little bit of a sneak peek. So in a couple of days, in a few days, the new program pages will be online with the new pricing, and you'll see all the dates and everything here. And yep, so for class 1, this is going to be the team that's going to be teaching this next May session, Steve Savali and Lana. And when this page is up, you're also going to be able to really just evaluate the full syllabus. You know, now that I do have a more technical partner, we can get a lot more of this information published and for you to be able to evaluate. So, you know, you can really look through the updated syllabuses for each of these 9-week mentorships and just see if it's something that's a good fit for you, for where you are in your development. Another little piece of news about us is I think we're gonna ditch Slack and we're going to use Discord for our community in terms of instant messaging and chatting, doing some testing with Discord and Slack. We feel like this is gonna be a really cool place to just, you know, have our collaboration and do these mentorships. And then, as I said, yeah, the big goal was just to try to make it more accessible, make it cheaper. And if you have any, you know, specific questions, we're going to have an FAQ section on here. And then, you know, we're small, so reach out to me directly. If you have questions, send me an email, hello@mographmentor.com. I'm happy to speak with you if you're trying to decide if this is a good fit for you. So with that, that's really the update that we wanted to communicate. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take any questions that you have. So Dustin had put a question in here. Will this change the class schedule? It is once a week, correct? It is once a week. If it is at 5 p.m. Pacific, have you ever considered bumping it to later, say 5:30, so there's time to commute home? Yeah, so in this new format, when we have this more locked in uniform time each week, that's going to be really hard to solve for. It's going to have to be on the time that it is. Of course, everything will be recorded. And these live sessions are going to be a lot more about direct presentations. So even just having access to those presentations each week and then being in Discord with your mentors, or even if you need to come, you know, a few minutes late to each live stream, part of getting this price down is creating a little bit more of a rigid structure, and we're gonna have to figure out how we can serve people given the time issues, how we best do that. But that is going to be a bit of a drawback to doing it this way. So the other question, are all the classes lowering in price or just class 1? So yeah, we went through that. They're all going to be lower. Mastering Cinema 4D class with Handel Eugene. I was on with Handel for about an hour yesterday. We're tentatively looking at about a June launch date on Handel's. You know, Handel's training has really turned into kind of a master class on production techniques, you know, just like production techniques that he's used in his project. So that one's really great. Are any licenses for technical products included in the course cost? So we have access to Maxon student licenses. You can get a license for Cinema 4D. You can get a free, you can get a license for the storyboarding app called Boards. We have a couple of other ones. The ones we don't have is Adobe. You have to have your own Adobe software, and I'm sorry about that, but we don't have the licenses for that. I'm an art director. I have some knowledge about motion, but I don't work well with After Effects. I can entry in this course instead. Caesar, I would say that class 1 is a good fit for you. It's very After Effects heavy, very animation heavy. And if that's really what you're looking to focus on, then that's good. Elizabeth says, I'm looking for a mentor, not classes. Is that a thing? The answer, Elizabeth, is that it's not a thing yet, but that's another big thing that we're going to be bringing out later this year, where you can just do direct mentorships with our network of mentors outside of this program structure. But as of right now, we're still just, we've just figured out the new structure for the structured mentorship, or what I like to think of as like curriculum-based mentorship. And Elizabeth, I think what you're saying is you would just like a personalized mentorship, and that's something we want to figure out as well. Let's see. I'm looking for Sorry, I missed the very first part. For those of us that just took class 1, what should we expect for continuing? So Andre, if you just took class 1, I think you should expect to just take the new version of class 2. That's $1,300 cheaper-ish, if my math is correct. And Andre, we're going to have those mentors for you shortly. I can say Jesus Suarez is going to be one of them. And I believe it's going to be Matisse Lutjen as your second mentor for class 2, but we're about a day or two away from confirming all of that. So someone says, can someone recommend me a bunch of classes or courses? I have little experience. I'm good at using After Effects. So what do you guys recommend for me? I'd say if you're good at using After Effects, but your work's not terribly good, then I would say try to take class 2 or 3 and make better work. Are there special prices if we want to take a class for a second time? Charles, that's a great point. I'd say the answer is yes, man. Let's maybe email on that. We'd be happy to give you a discount as a returning student. Judd says, have a date for Adobe Animate to launch. Yeah, thank you, Judd. We're finishing up the sound design kickstart right now, which I'm super excited about everyone seeing. That's going to be free. That's going to be a really great one. And then we're doing the Adobe Animate. So we're probably like 3 weeks out, Judd, on the Adobe Animate by Taylor. And that turned out really great. Like, I really learned a lot from him. Animate can be intimidating, but it's a really useful tool. Thank you all so much for all those great questions. And as I said before, if you think of a question later, just go ahead and ping me. The first class, we really just want people to, kind of animation and design boot camp, like doing the animation projects, doing the design, design projects, just to establish those best practices that as your software knowledge grows, you can make original and interesting work. And that's kind of always been our mentality. So thank you all so much for hanging out. If there's more questions, I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. So it says, what about people on a technical artist track, running headless, knowing when to multipass, integrating OBS? On a technical artist track, yeah, like Elizabeth, you mean maybe like a more technical studio course, like an inside look at how studios operate. Yeah, I think that's more on the roadmap. I mean, our thing right now is like, we like the mentorship for kind of these big picture courses. Then once you do that, we're in such a weird industry. It's like, then you kind of end up picking lanes, and then you just need more like niche training that should probably be a lot cheaper. Like if you're going to go deep down 3D, spending $100 on a guide to Redshift or Octane or something like that. So we're going to continue to add as many workshops as we can. And I think, yeah, we're just trying to understand what more topics we could do. Yeah, pipelines. Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. That's a more articulate summary of it. Yeah, we'd love to do a pipeline. It's just a question of capacity. We're trying to hire more people. We've, with everybody being stuck at home, we've seen our active users on our campus site basically triple in the last couple months. So we're trying to hire, and we're trying to increase our capacity to create more of that niche training that should be really cheap. But yeah, right now also we just want the mentorship part of this to kind of take a step forward and be better for people, based on the feedback we're getting and from the mentor feedback as well. So Ahab says, how much does it cost for class 2 now? The answer is $770. So each class is $770 or 3 payments of $265. So you pay like an extra $10 or something more if you do it in payments, and that's basically just because Stripe and PayPal eat that $10 anyway. That's kind of just the processing fee per payment at this point. So yeah, thank you all for hearing me out on it and being interested. We're super excited about it. We think this is going to be a way better version of it. And if you're hanging out and you have supported us, thank you so much. We're lucky to be doing this, and we just want to do it really well. So if you take our classes, if you do mentorship, please give us feedback, help us, help us make it even better. Our goal is just to figure out how this works best for people going into the future. So with that, I'd say have a great Wednesday, everybody, and please reach out if you have any specific questions. hello@mographmentor.com. Stay healthy, everyone. Stay safe. God bless wherever you are. And I look forward to, if you're going to jump into this next semester, seeing you there, getting to know you, and working with you. So thanks, everybody. Have a good one.